Welcome to ServiceNow Tech Bites, bringing you an inside look at our products. I'm your host, Steve Miller. Today we're going to talk about the new idea portal in the ServiceNow community with product owners Shia Kornreich and Lawrence Eng. The idea portal is a new feature that lets users suggest and vote on enhancements to ServiceNow products. Stay tuned. All right, well, today I'm happy to welcome Shia Kornreich and Lawrence Eng to the show. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Good to be here.
Before we get going talking about the idea portal, maybe we can give our listeners an idea of who you are. Introduce yourselves. Shia, what do you do here at ServiceNow?
At ServiceNow, I am the high product owner for ITBM. That means I manage the project management, program management, agile, test management, and enhancement requests processes at ServiceNow.
Okay, and how about when you're not here at work? What do you like to do?
I dance quite a bit. I'm an avid dancer, and I work on creative projects. I'm a bit of a creative cat.
Okay, sounds good. How about you, Lawrence? What do you do here at ServiceNow?
Like Shia, I am a high product owner. My area of ownership is the ServiceNow community. So I own the technical implementation of community, and I partner with my colleagues in marketing who own the day-to-day operations of community.servicenow.com. I've been with ServiceNow for a long time, about 8 years, and I've been involved with community from day one. So still glad to be here.
Oh, veteran, 8 years. And how about when you're not at work?
I like to be on my mountain bike as much as I can and hang out with my kids at home.
All right, well, let's get started talking about the idea portal. So this is a new feature that you guys are launching for the community. Can you tell us a little more about it? Just a quick overview?
Sure. So today we have a lot of requests coming in from our external users, our customers and partners, and they have requests for our product functionality that's built by our platform product team. And what we have available today are enhancement request records with a process that has a lot of room for improvement. So the idea portal is the new system and process where external users can submit an idea and then vote on other people's ideas. And then our best ideas will be reviewed by our product team for possible implementation. So in a nutshell, that's what it's about. It's making the customer voice heard and clearer and more impactful.
Okay. And what was behind the development of this? What ideas led you to do this?
Well, I think one of the major factors for us to proceed with this project is the fact that we have a ServiceNow community. Community has been around for a long time, probably a little over 10 years. But for the first time, community is now being run on the ServiceNow platform. So as of February 2018, we're no longer using a third-party vendor to host our community site. It is now completely powered by ServiceNow. So that gives us a lot of opportunities to do a lot of cool stuff on the community, integrating with our other products, such as ITBM, which Shia works with. And so we partnered with the ITBM team who built this new idea or innovation management feature, which we decided to put onto the community. And we have the development resources and the knowledge and experience to do that.
So this really lets you leverage the dynamic community that we have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, our community has been growing in leaps and bounds as ServiceNow has been growing as well. And so, when I started with ServiceNow, we had about 5,000 people on the community. And as I mentioned before, we have about 200,000 registered members, and that number just keeps growing and growing. And so when we talk about giving customers a voice and getting them to submit and look at and vote on ideas, we figured the best place to do it would be the community because it's so dynamic and so many people look at it every single day.
And this is another avenue to grow that registration base even farther. And so users who have not yet visited community or haven't spent significant time there have another reason to go there to search for answers and to share and knowledge share with their peers. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Well, let me take a step back real quick. We've been talking about ideas. Maybe you can say a little more about what idea means in the ServiceNow system.
So what differentiates an idea from, let's say, a case or a problem is that when a user is implementing ServiceNow and they're using the functions of a product, they may encounter a situation where they want to complete an action, they want to execute an action that doesn't exist. And so a case could be something that does exist but doesn't work quite well. A problem could be something similar to that. An idea is brand new functionality that a user would like to see available in our products. So having the ability to share that idea with other customers or partners that may have a similar idea and let the product teams know this is something valuable for your business is this avenue of the idea portal.
And so the idea portal helps people transform ideas in their head to the ServiceNow construct of an idea and get it into the system for consideration.
Correct. And they can get an answer or an update a little bit faster than they would going through a case scenario or a problem scenario. It may take time to unravel that what they are requesting isn't a problem or a case, it's actually an idea. So having that critical thinking up front and looking at the ideas there and that format will let users know, is what I'm asking an actual idea? And if so, how can we get it implemented?
And one of the key improvements of us putting ideas on the community is that when someone submits an idea, of course, it's going to be visible to everybody else on the community. So if I'm a ServiceNow customer who's using the community and I have a product enhancement request, I don't just have to go to the community and submit it right away. I can certainly browse to see if anyone else has submitted that same idea, or I can do a search. And if they have, all I have to do is upvote it to help it be considered by ServiceNow instead of having to, type it all over again.
So it really, you benefit from what's already been done, and then the community benefits from what you've just done.
Exactly. And you can collaborate too. So again, our community site's all about collaboration. So on every single idea, in addition to voting up other people's ideas, you can also comment on them. So you can have a little conversation and say, that's a good idea, but have you considered maybe adding this or that to said idea? Or maybe even, I submitted a similar one. You might want to take a look at that one. You can upvote that one instead. Or maybe even saying, this functionality already exists. You just didn't know about it. Here, take a look at this, and here's how you can do it. And so this type of collaboration is going to make everything more efficient for pretty much everyone.
Okay. Does this process of collaboration, does it refine the ideas in the system? I mean, do people end up changing the ideas that they've submitted? How does that work? How does the refinement process work?
Well, we will see how much refinement it actually gets accomplished, but that is the intention. The intention is that with the details provided in an idea post, other users can absorb that information and see how it serves their use case, their request. So rather than refining a bunch of ideas that are similar, our goal is to streamline these unique ideas so that we have only unique ideas in the system and very few similar. If there is a scenario where we have 5 similar ideas, then we will be able to flag them and merge them into one. Because what we don't want to have are several similar ideas with a few votes spread across. That is less likely to reach the desk of the product owner than one impactful idea with a high volume of votes. That's where we're going. So there is opportunity for refinement along the way, and our goal is for users to take the time to search and read existing ideas and comment on ones that are similar and applicable to them.
I can tell you that our product managers are very much looking forward to getting high quality ideas from the community. Previously, sometimes, people submitting enhancement requests, they might just have a one-liner request, and that's okay. Maybe it was simple like that. But if on the community, if you want someone to vote up your idea, it's probably going to have to be more than one liner. You have to explain a little bit more about, what's your business case, is it going to impact, how many people is it going to impact, maybe take some screenshots or provide some sketches of the potential UI. You don't have to put that kind of detail in, but any kind of additional detail that you put in makes it more likely that your idea will get upvoted and more likely to be put in front of a product manager.
And not only those practical benefits, but it helps explain the idea better, right?
Exactly.
And helps the originators think it through more thoroughly, maybe.
Exactly. And there will likely be thousands of competing ideas out there. So to illustrate the value of your idea and to have the product teams be able to prioritize it for a version release, it's really important to take the time to add as much detail and benefit as possible.
All right, well, let's go back to the idea portal on the community then. So what did it take to get this thing implemented?
Well, the idea portal originated as an idea. So we had a use case to have a new product built with our platform product team. And so innovation management is the out-of-box code and product that was released with the New York version under ITBM licensing. And we took that out-of-the-box code and configured it to our ServiceNow enterprise requirements. And these requirements have existed, and I've worked with our several internal teams for over a year to refine those requirements and the process. And then Lawrence's team with community and the team I am a part of with ITBM on high jointly configured the idea portal solution and the backend workflows, tables, and records that are internal to ServiceNow. So it was a huge collaborative effort, not only on the technical side for getting the product built out of the box, configuring and implementing it within community and high, but also a lot of teamwork for other internal team processes from the product teams, marketing teams, customer support and technical support teams, partners, the works. So it was a real exemplary effort of transforming an idea and a need that our customers vocalized, internal and external customers vocalized this need, and our product teams responded.
So my development team on the community side was responsible for the front-end experience of the idea portal, making sure that it looked right, that it worked right in the context of community, because our CSM community product does not have an idea portal as an out-of-box feature. But my dev team is super awesome, and our platform is extremely powerful in terms of doing this type of customization and configuration. And so they were able to turn around the code from the ITBM team and put it on the community quite well, in my opinion. Our main goal was to make sure that this idea portal experience on the community was as seamless as possible, that it looked like other types of community interactions. I mean, today people mostly post questions on the community, Q&A, posting blog posts, comments, articles, videos, etc. So idea was just one extra dimension that we added to the community that we need to make sure that it kind of fit with the same user experience in terms of things like search, user profile, just the basic look and feel. And then Shaya's team worked on the back-end experience of what happens when the ideas actually get input into our system.
Well, I can imagine that some of our listeners, their ears are perking up listening to all this, because this would be a model for how they would implement on their own systems. You've just described the journey that they would take. It sounds like you guys have really done this to the hilt with the full customization and everything. If for a customer who is implementing this for the first time, is there a fast path to get this thing up and running?
Well, I don't want to say that we did too much customization. Just as a general rule on the high team, we want to get as much functionality out there for our users as possible.
I would say it depends on the individual requirements of that environment, and that can be applied with most of our products. So if there is a need to configure the out-of-the-box code and it's a light configuration for light users and a light workflow, then that is the fast path. We did not have a fast path because our requirements were quite complex and are quite complex, touching several different teams with different processes. And keeping in mind, it's exposed to all of our customers and partners. So there were a lot of elements here that required significant configuration while staying as close to out-of-the-box code as possible. And Lawrence can talk more about what decisions we weighed with every step to make sure that we didn't depart too far from the out of the box while still fulfilling our requirements.
Yeah, we did focus groups to show them all the development work that we were doing. And through the user feedback and through the user research that we got, we realized that we did have to make some modifications to the out-of-box innovation management product, which we did just to make the UI a little bit more polished. I mean, this is a brand new product, so they're iterating as well. And the ITBM team is certainly taking the feedback from us as we're putting this in front of customers. So we fully expect that the innovation management product from ITBM is going to evolve as a result of the work that we're doing. For the most part, we tried not to tinker too much with the basic functionality, but we do have some UI tweaks here and there just to make the user experience a little bit better.
Okay, so this sounds like, I think you mentioned, it's just like many aspects of the ServiceNow products. You can get it up and running pretty quickly just using out of the box. But then if you have your specific needs, you can customize it to get just what you want.
Exactly. And it's going to be a learning and evolutionary process. So we are launching in Q4 of 2019, and we will have continual updates to the look, feel, and behavior based on the ideas and feedback we get from our users. So this is our entry into this space. This is quite groundbreaking, and it's a game changer for our customers and for our internal teams. So we will be learning as we go on what we can improve along the way.
I think one important thing to note is, Shai and myself as product owners on the High team, we have a lot of confidence in our developers. We have a lot of confidence in our product. So when just told us that they wanted to implement an idea portal on the community, we're like, we can totally do that, because on ServiceNow platform, you can pretty much do anything. But we knew that the biggest challenge for this to be successful was not really on the technical side. Of course, that work had to be done. But on the business process side, making sure that when ideas actually do flow in, that we handle those ideas properly and we have a really good communication flow internally and then back to the customers. That was really what we thought was going to make or break this program.
That sounds like another piece of good advice for our listeners then, is that something else they'll need to prepare for as they consider implementing this system, is the organizational infrastructure to support it.
Correct. When someone asks a question or has a request, they would like a response. It's a human trait. And creating the capacity and having a process that can scale in any environment is critical to making this product work. So will it work out of the box? Yes, unless you have a process that's followed to support what you are deploying, you have a high risk there. So I would say do your due diligence, understand the requirements and the needs and the emotional state of the users, and address that with your processes. And that is what I foresee to be our key for success here. Even though this is a new portal, a new method of a system that we have had for over 5 years, we think that the outcome will be fresh and supportive and really fulfilling for all the users.
And when you say understanding the emotional state of the users, you don't just mean the end users, or in our case,
Correct.
our customers on the community, but also our internal users.
Our internal users.
Internal stakeholders. So any customer who's listening to this, wanting to implement idea management, an idea portal of their own, make sure that you talk to your internal stakeholders and make them a huge part of the process.
Right. Having their buy-in, their support, their happy faces when we show them the solution means more than having a customer enjoy the fact that they can search for an idea and hit that upvote, right? That's the immediate gratification. The long-term gratification and the long-term success is really in having a calm, peaceful state of mind when you read someone's idea. If your team is stressed up against the wall and doesn't really understand the idea and it doesn't resonate, that creates more stress and it doesn't lead to a lot of implementations of ideas. But having a calm, efficient process with valuable data really makes that entire experience pleasant for both sides. And that's what we're going for.
And so the big happy face is that the users have a good experience submitting these ideas and refining them in their collaborative way on the community. The organization handles them well and in funneling them in for implementation. And the result is an enhanced product back to the users.
Correct. Yeah. And customers can see their impact when they can use the feature that they requested. It's quite a wonderful thing.
So now here you are at launch of this of the Idea Portal.
Yeah.
What do you expect to see going forward here?
We ran a pilot of this with a limited number of customers to get their feedback and just to see what would happen when people could use use our portal, and we made some improvements based on that feedback so far. And what we noticed is that people are very excited about this.
Yeah.
They're excited to submit ideas. They're excited about reading other people's ideas and noticing that other people had the same thoughts that they did in terms of how to improve the ServiceNow product. So I think realistically, when we launch this, I'm expecting to see a lot of ideas. There's two ways that this could go wrong. One is that people could completely ignore this and say, well, we don't want to do this. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I don't think that's going to happen just based on the interest we've gauged from the ServiceNow customers we've talked to so far. The other issue is that we're just going to get a lot of ideas. And I think that's a good problem to have, because that's the problem that we tried to solve for, that we anticipated for. That's the whole purpose of this upvoting mechanism, making sure that we have good search on the portal, good ways to browse and filter for different ideas based on different categories, duplicate prevention, duplicate management, eventually duplicate detection. So yeah, we're going to get a lot of ideas, and people are going to upvote them, and we're going to start funneling them in. I'm sure there will be a few kinks to work out as we move along, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can see how on that side, the handling idea, receiving and handling ideas, and then also in refining the way the thing works to keep it going for users, but keep it better and better.
Right. Idea Portal is a consumer of several ServiceNow products outside of ITBM. Search and duplicate detection are just a couple of them. So as we get feedback on the Idea Portal, it will encompass feedback for other products. And, that symbiotic relationship will just elevate the product quality overall over time.
I can see this can be quite a test bed.
Yes.
For that whole array of products that it uses.
Right.
Yeah, we're not just launching this year and then just going away. We're going to see how people use it, get feedback from people, obviously not just about the ServiceNow product, but about the Idea Portal itself. And we're planning on making improvements pretty much through the end of the year and into 2020 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask a question from a little bit different angle. One really nice aspect about the community is that ServiceNow employees participate in it just like the ServiceNow users, and that organic exchange between those two groups is really valuable. It's a very gratifying thing. Will ServiceNow employees be able to participate in this idea refinement process? Like, can they vote? Can they submit ideas?
Absolutely. And it was a topic of conversation. And from day one, I was a strong supporter to allow all ServiceNow employees without any blockers to participate in the Idea Portal for a few reasons. First and foremost, an internal ServiceNow employee has insight into the behavior of our products. They may have relationships with the product owners themselves. They may understand a nuance that the customer submitting the idea may not understand. So their input in the comments is extremely valuable. And we've seen that in other forums in community, that an internal answer can solve the request or issue. So I anticipate some ideas coming to the table that have already been implemented and it's just not obvious. So internal users can assist that way. They can, instead of submitting their own separate request internally, upvote a customer request. And that adds the value to that idea when it goes to a product owner. And thirdly, internal users will be using the Idea Portal come 2020. We are transforming our entire internal feedback process and funneling it to the Idea Portal concept. So the sooner they get familiar with the usability and the benefits, I think the smoother transitional path they'll have in the future.
I think a detail that's worth pointing out is that we don't want employee-submitted ideas to compete with customer-submitted ideas. So we do want employees to have a channel where they can submit their ideas that our product managers can look at and decide if it's worthwhile doing. But we're going to create a separate area for that so that we don't have that customer-employee competition that I just mentioned.
Right. So 2020 will include the requirements of individual internal teams, and they will be separate from the community. However, we're not blocking them from putting their 2 cents in today.
Another thing to note is that right now we're using the Idea Portal on the community specifically for product enhancement requests, but that's just the beginning. You could really use this Idea Portal concept for all other kinds of use cases as well. So, for example, the Knowledge Conference, Knowledge 2020, if the marketing team comes to myself and Shai and says, hey, we would love something on the community where people can submit their suggestions for what type of programming is at our next Knowledge Conference, we can do that.
We can spin up private idea modules for them that can either be scheduled to open and close at a certain date, moderated by those specific teams. Any use case, I would use it to decide, what next project should bubble up to the top, internally. There's no limitation on what you can use this forum for.
And customers can do this too if they implement it for themselves. They can do all of this.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I've already gotten questions from customers on how they might leverage this in their enterprise. Part of the reason why this project was prioritized to become a product and implemented was from use cases provided by customers. And we realized that this is something we need and most of our customers can utilize as well. So it's extremely valuable.
Could you share a couple more of those use cases? That sounds interesting.
Sure. So when an enterprise company gets a lot of feedback from their users, and it could be any company that has a feedback button, any company that has a request intake process. They have them in individual records. They have them come through in emails. They are looking for a solution that can crowdsource so that they don't have to manually aggregate similar requests. They're looking for a process to help them prioritize these requests and ideas in a quick fashion. And so, just with those two use cases, the Idea Portal and the Innovation Management product can help solve for them. Not only do they want ServiceNow to manage their requests in this way, they want to manage their own customer requests in this way. So, those are two light cases.
I'll give you a specific use case that I'm really looking forward to. So as the product owner for community, I'm always trying to make sure that we're evolving our community site to have better features, better usability for our customers. So I'm looking forward to eventually having an Idea Portal specifically for community enhancement requests. Because right now I do get a ton of feedback from people when I go to the Knowledge Conference, when I talk to internal people here at ServiceNow, all the different things that they want from community. But I know that there are a ton of great ideas about how to improve the community site, just living in the heads of our customers out there. And I want them to submit them and let other community users vote on them. And we're just going to make the community that much better in 2020 and beyond.
Okay, I hope that gives our listeners some ideas for this too.
Yeah.
Are there any other insider tips and tricks that you might give users, both for implementing it and for using it, both on our community and in their own organizations?
I think understanding the problem you're looking to solve, right? This phrase comes up time and again. If you have a mindset where you're going to solution only, when you're going to add every feature you can into a process and portal because you think that is what is needed, take a step back. Talk to the people who will be using the system and get down to the minimum requirements, because if you start lean and then build out, you'll know you'll be doing the right thing every step of the way. If you start with all the bells and whistles, your users may not understand the value of all those bells and whistles. Some will get unused completely. Some will be criticized until you end up removing it, right? So starting really lean with what you need only and building out from there is the way to go. Not saying you have to only deploy lean. We are deploying much more than we promised. We promised 10 things. We're delivering almost, 18 different features here. So because we started with that lean conversation, we were able to design a process and system that we know will be very effective. And every click is meaningful. Every option has a purpose. So my suggestion would be start there and understand the day-to-day needs of the users.
I'll answer a slightly different question, which is maybe a tip and trick for an end user of the community who's using the Idea Portal. When you're using the portal, I definitely encourage you to search as one of the first things that you do. And of course, you can just go straight to the portal and click the Create Idea button and, post your idea. But by searching, you're going to find other people who have similar ideas as you. And if you find that, you can upvote them. In addition to search, you should promote. If you see one that was submitted that you like, that meets your use case, definitely promote it. The best way for your idea to get attention of our product managers is for that idea to get a lot of votes on the community. So take the URL of that idea and go onto social media and tell all your friends and colleagues or anyone who's willing to listen and say, hey, I saw this idea in the ServiceNow community. I think it's a really good idea for improving the ServiceNow product. If you have the same use case, if you also think it's a good idea, go there, go to the community, register, log in, upvote it as well, and just generate a lot of interest in your idea.
Yeah. And I'd like to highlight that, again, searching for an idea that's similar to yours, commenting on that, and adjusting that comment to suit your specific request is key, because then you have that one idea with that high volume of votes that will reach the top. If you decide to create a new idea and then start socializing that with that other URL, now you have two similar ideas competing, and perhaps neither one of them will rise to the top. So, following Lawrence's suggestion of searching, commenting, and sharing an idea that's meaningful to you is the way to be seen and heard in a most impactful way.
And we do have some features on the idea portal where you can look for ideas that have received a lot of votes, or even ideas which have received a lot of comments. Mm-hmm. So when you go to the idea portal, you'll notice some widgets and you'll notice some filters where you can say, show me all the ideas that were created recently, all the ideas that had recent activity, or all the ideas which had the most votes. Just basic sorting on the main list. You can also sort ideas based on specific categories. So if there are ideas that you have for a specific ServiceNow product or application, you can filter to see what people have submitted for that specific category. And you can also filter from there. See what were the most popular ideas for incident management, for example, or which were the most commented ideas for the topic change management. Mm-hmm. We even have on those widgets that I mentioned, filters where you can say, what were the top voted ideas today? Top voted ideas this week, this month, all time. What were the top commented ideas specifically today or this week or this month or all time? So there's a lot of different ways that you can view the ideas that have been submitted. That'll give you a good understanding of what's kind of hot on the community and what deserves your attention and deserves you promoting further.
Right. And if you have previously submitted an enhancement request, use that view of your request to search for a new idea. So don't be discouraged if you have submitted a request and haven't received a response. You still have a view of that, of what your old request is, and you can take that same request, do a search in the idea portal, and vote for something similar to that request. So even if you have experienced in the past something that is less optimal, give the idea portal a shot and follow our best practices. And I think you will be extremely and pleasantly surprised at how far you can go now with that same idea.
Well, it sounds like a characteristic of the community that makes it so effective is organic collaboration. That's going to apply to these ideas as well, like that systems will evolve organically for combining similar ideas and upvoting the best one. The community will do that on its own.
Mm-hmm. There is some manual effort there today. Complete transparency, we don't have an automated way to detect similar ideas or duplicates. So we are relying on that human interaction to make sure that the ideas are unique and then merged if they're not. So,
it sounds like voting is going to help with that.
Yeah, it will.
Well, one thing that we do have is that when you create a new idea, once you start typing in the description, it will do a search in the system automatically to see if someone has an idea with the same title. And it'll give you a drop-down list that you can click on those just to see and hopefully save you some effort of not having to type in an idea that someone already submitted. Right. On every single idea record, you'll see a widget that shows some related ideas as well. Again, just based on some similarity of text. And of course, like I mentioned before, you can search to see if there are similar ideas out there.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about it?
A huge shift in this new system and process is that the product teams can easily address all of the idea subscribers. And an idea subscriber is someone who either posted the idea, voted on the idea, or commented on the idea. And so now our product teams can address all of those subscribers on the idea through a system that they are in every single day, and where they don't have to individually email anybody. They don't have to mine our database to find out the correct contact. It will all be readily available to them. And posting a comment on the idea will provide that viewpoint from that product owner. We also are guaranteeing automatic notifications anytime there's a state change on that idea to all the subscribers. So that's, more of a hands-off way for the product owner to communicate back what's shifted. And then if there's something meaningful that they need to communicate, or a question that they want to clarify, they can address everyone at once. And this closed loop communication process is our number one impact here. It's getting a response out to anyone who's asked a question, and we will go from there. Our goal is to provide a world-class service for anyone who has an enhancement request. And so making sure that everyone is addressed and acknowledged in one way or another within a reasonable amount of time is our number one solution here and our number one impact.
And since we're putting this onto the community, we know that we're going to get a lot of ideas, dozens, hundreds, potentially thousands of ideas, and that's good. We know that our product teams don't have the bandwidth to respond to every single one. That's why we implemented this system that's essentially as democratic as possible, where every community member gets one vote on an idea. And so what our product teams have committed to is looking at and responding to the top voted ideas in each individual category. Right. So again, we can't promise that they're going to look at literally like 10,000 ideas and respond to 10,000 ideas in a month. They're just not humanly possible. But through the voting and based on us identifying what are the top voted ideas, we can at least tell our product teams, here are the ones that you really need to pay attention to, because it looks like there are a lot of customers who are asking for this, and they have agreed to do that.
And for the ones that don't get that human review and that human response, we're not having those ideas languish out there for years. We have a time limit on an idea that is not sufficiently upvoted and does not become prioritized. Customers will get a response within 1 year of them posting the idea on whether it will be moved forward or perhaps closed. So that automated response and update to customers, I think, is something that they will appreciate. They won't be wondering for 18 months, what's happening with my idea. You'll have the answer. It may not be the most amazing answer you're looking for, but it's reality. And we want to share and be transparent with what we are able to do at this time.
Well, thank you. Before we wrap up, let me just ask, if people want more information on this, where would they go?
They would go to the community site to look for links to videos and documentation. They can go to the knowledge base and look for KB articles there. Service portal, where there's currently the enhancement request area under my requests. There's a link, there's a banner and a link to more information and to the idea portal. All of that will be available at launch. So those are just a few places you can go. The partner success portal will have details there. And also the ITBM product page under innovation management will have information from the out-of-box product side, and there will also be a link to the idea portal.
I think another resource that we can point out is on docs.servicenow.com.
Yeah.
If you look at the section for ITBM, there is documentation for innovation management.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you both very much for coming on today. That's great insight on a very valuable new feature.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's great.
For more information on any ServiceNow topic, take a look at our product documentation, knowledge base, or ServiceNow support YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.